The hidden architecture of reality, you were never powerless, only uninformed. The truth was never denied to you. It was simply buried. Hidden not in darkness, but in plain sight, veiled beneath dogma, distraction, and doubt. You were taught to obey patterns, not perceive them, to trust authority, not your own frequency. And so you forgot, not because you were weak, but because forgetting is what the world asked of you in order to belong. But even in your forgetting, something ancient stirred. A feeling that life was not random, that your thoughts carried weight, that your emotions echoed louder than your words. You felt it in the quiet moments, how your energy enters a room before you do, how your inner storm shapes the face of your day, how you repeat patterns, not by fate, but by a code you were never taught to read. This is where your remembering begins. Beneath every religion, behind every spiritual path, encoded in ancient manuscripts whispered through time, exists a blueprint. 7 laws, not rules made by man, but principles etched into the bones of the universe. These are not beliefs to adopt. They are mechanics, unchanging, omnipresent, inevitable. Hermetic, undeniable. They do not care what you think of them. They simply reflect what you are. Everything you've ever experienced, your joys, your wounds, your victories, and your suffering, was never random. They are the output of invisible architecture. Your thoughts were the architects. Your emotions, the current. Your beliefs, the builders. And the reality around you, just the final rendering. You were not born to obey reality. You were born to write it, but they never told you that. Because if you knew how reality really worked, you couldn't be tamed. You wouldn't need permission. You wouldn't beg for love or safety or worthiness. You'd embody them. You'd wield them. And so you were handed systems designed to make you forget. Schools that taught you to memorize but never understand. Families that passed on their wounds as wisdom, cultures that trained you to seek externally what always lived inside, but now you've found the door. The Hermetic laws are not new, they are eternal. They govern creation itself. And whether you know them or not, you've been living by them your whole life, just in reverse. This journey is not about learning something foreign. It is about remembering what you already know. Deep down, beneath the noise, you've always known the world could bend. That energy responds, that thoughts are alive, that there is more. You were right, you just forgot that it was you all along. The inner remembering. Tonight, before sleep, sit in silence for 5 minutes. Breathe deeply. Then ask yourself, not with words, but with awareness, where have I forgotten my power? Listen not for answers, but for resonance. Let memory rise, not of the mind, but of the soul. This is where your journey begins. Chapter 2. Mentalism. The mind as the origin of all. You were taught to think that life happens to you, that the external world moves first, and your emotions follow. That you are merely reacting to circumstances, responding to reality, like a passenger on a moving train. But what if that was never the truth? What if you weren't riding reality but generating it? What if every moment, every pattern, every outcome in your life was not coincidence or consequence, but creation? Mentalism is the first Hermetic law, and it is the master key. It says this: all is mind, not in metaphor, in structure. Reality itself begins within consciousness. Your outer world is not separate from your inner world. It is its projection. You are not just living in the world, you are living in a mirror. and the source of its reflection is your thought. This means that your thoughts are not passive. They are not noise, they are blueprints. Every assumption you hold, every belief you unconsciously repeat, every internal story you quietly tell yourself when no one is listening becomes architecture. Not just emotional architecture, but literal, energetic frameworks that shape the events, people, and opportunities that appear in your life. What you think about money repeats in your bank account. What you think about love echoes in your relationships. What you think about your worth pulses silently beneath every choice you make. And here's the revelation most people never reach. You're not just influenced by your thoughts. You're imprisoned by them until you become conscious. You see, your mind is always running, but most of what it runs was installed by others, parents, teachers, cultures, religions, systems. They gave you thoughts disguised as fact. And you believed them. Not because you were weak, but because you were programmable. And now, you are still running code that you never wrote. Assumptions that do not serve you. Ideas that quietly sabotage you. Beliefs that keep your potential on a leash. The law of mentalism invites you to wake up. It does not ask you to believe in magic. It asks you to understand mechanics. The mechanics of creation, the structure of manifestation, the source of what you call reality. This law doesn't require faith. It demands awareness. The moment you realize that your inner world is the origin point of your experience, the game changes. Think of your thoughts like seeds. Each one has a vibration. That vibration becomes a feeling. That feeling becomes a behavior. That behavior becomes a pattern. And the pattern becomes your life. You are not living at random. You are living your thoughts, amplified and externalized. And yet, most people never examine their mind. They think their thoughts are simply how it is. They don't realize their mind is a lens, and the lens can be cleaned, it can be rewired, it can be rewritten. This is why two people can live in the same house, grow up in the same family, work the same job, and have entirely different experiences of life. It's not the house, it's not the job, it's the lens, the filter of thought that governs what they notice, what they fear, what they invite, and what they block. When your internal story says, "I am unsafe," the world becomes threatening. When your story says, "I'm always overlooked," your brilliance goes unseen. When your story says, "I'm not ready," doors stay closed. But the moment your story shifts, everything else must too. This isn't wishful thinking. This is Hermetic truth. Thought is the first layer of creation. Before vibration, before energy, before matter, thought comes first. It is the seed, and you are the soil. And whatever you plant will grow, not because you hope it will, but because that is the nature of mind. So here is the question you've never been taught to ask. Are your thoughts building you or binding you? Are you telling yourself stories that limit your potential, dim your light, shrink your choices, or are you commanding a reality that reflects your true capacity? Every single day, your thoughts are creating, whether you want them to or not, whether you're conscious of it or not. Creation is not optional. Direction is, and here's where the truth sharpens into power. If you created the chaos unconsciously, you can create the clarity consciously. If your thoughts led you here, they can lead you out. You do not need to suppress thoughts. You need to see them. You need to observe them without judgment, to become the silent witness, and then with intention, rewrite the script. Choose the thought like you would choose the foundation of your home, because that's exactly what it is. You are not your thoughts. You are the writer of them. But that writing requires attention. It requires honesty. You must become aware of the automatic loops, the quiet whispers, the inherited stories, the programmed doubts. You must stare into the fog and ask, who gave me this thought? And do I still choose it? Because most of the limitations you feel are not real. They are only rehearsed. And what is rehearsed can be rewritten. When you master the mind, you are no longer pushed by life, you are pulled by vision. You are no longer a passenger, you are the architect. And architecture, my friend, begins not with bricks, but with blueprint. You are not chasing clarity, you are choosing it. And your thoughts are the first step. The thought audit, 24-hour challenge. For the next 24 hours, become the silent observer of your own mind. Every hour, ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Write it down, no matter how small or strange. Then ask, does this thought empower me or imprison me? If it imprisons you, rewrite it. Not with fantasy, but with intention. Example, change. I'm always behind to I am exactly where I need to be to grow forward. Repeat it aloud, feel its tone. Speak it into your field. Do this with 5 thoughts per day. 1 day, 1 shift, 1 seed planted on purpose. Let this be the moment you stopped living by default and started living by design. Chapter 3, Vibration. The frequency. You broadcast, you've been told that hard work builds empires, that hustle beats resistance, that if you push enough, something will eventually give way. But there's a secret the world rarely admits, because if you truly understood it, you'd stop playing by its rules. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. This is the Hermetic law of vibration. It is not a motivational quote, it is physics, it is spiritual code. It is the silent signal you emit into the fabric of reality every moment of every day. Not with your words, not even with your actions, but with your frequency. Vibration is the current that animates the blueprint of your thoughts. If mentalism is the architecture of creation, then vibration is the electricity that brings it to life. Thought begins the process, but it is your emotional state, your felt resonance, that either magnetizes or repels outcomes. Your frequency is not a metaphor, it's measurable. It is the subtle rhythm of your nervous system, the silent song your body sings before you ever speak. It is why you can walk into a room and feel tension without a word. It is why someone can smile and say the right things, but you still sense something's wrong. You're always broadcasting, you're always receiving. The question is, are you tuned in or just reacting? You've been vibrating your entire life. Long before you knew what the word meant, you vibrated when you felt joy as a child. You vibrated when your heart broke. You vibrated when you pretended to be okay, but your body trembled with grief. Every emotion emits a signal, every state a wavelength. And whether you're aware of it or not, the universe responds to the signal, not the story. Most people live in dissonance. They ask for abundance while vibrating scarcity. They speak of love while vibrating fear. They visualize success while humming with self-doubt. And then they wonder why nothing changes. But the law does not respond to your words. It responds to your charge. When your frequency is aligned, reality bends. When it is scattered, reality resists. This is why you've seen people who barely try, yet things seem to flow for them, and others who grind endlessly, yet stay stuck. The difference isn't effort. The difference is frequency. One is resonating with what they desire. The other is vibrating against it. Imagine your life as a tuning fork. When you vibrate at peace, you resonate with clarity, grace, and synchronicity. When you vibrate at fear, you draw confusion, delay, and disorder. Your vibration acts like a magnet. It pulls in what harmonizes with its tone, and it pushes away what clashes with it. So ask yourself now, gently and honestly, what frequency have I been living in lately? Have your days begun in urgency, anxiety, in lack? Do you start your mornings reacting to noise, scrolling, comparing, absorbing chaos before you've even tuned into your own tone? That is not awakening. That is static, and static drowns signal. The law of vibration asks for presence. It asks for sovereignty, not perfection, not blind positivity, just awareness, because the truth is, you can shift your frequency at will. Not by pretending, not by suppressing, but by choosing, consciously, moment to moment, what you wish to become a vibrational match for. You want love? Then radiate it, not as performance, but as posture. You want clarity? Then silence the clutter and feel your own signal again. You want success? Then stop chasing and start aligning. Vibration is not about striving. It is about tuning. You are like a radio tower. Your thoughts choose the station, but your emotions amplify it. Action confirms it. And when all three align, you become magnetic. Life begins to move toward you, not because you earned it, but because you attuned to it. You have felt this before. Those moments when everything just flowed, when the right person called, when the answer showed up in a dream, when the traffic cleared just in time. That wasn't random, that was resonance. That was your vibration in harmony with the moment. And you've also felt the opposite, the tension, the blocks, the same fight repeated in different faces. That, too, was resonance, but with a lower state. Here's what most never realize. Vibration builds momentum. The more you dwell in a state, the more it stabilizes. Eventually, it becomes your default, your normal. And what is normal to you becomes invisible, but it is still broadcasting. If you do not change the station, you will keep hearing the same song, even if the lyrics change. So how do you shift it? Not by force, but by awareness, by pausing, listening, noticing your state before you respond, before you act, before you speak. Most people are so tangled in thought they forget to feel, but vibration lives in the body, in the breath, in the heart's silent beat. You must learn to sense your own frequency. Feel when it contracts, when you spiral into fear, resentment, anxiety. Do not judge it, observe it, and then gently elevate it. Choose a better tone, a deeper breath, a more empowering narrative. Not to lie to yourself, but to lead yourself. The body is the tuning fork. The breath is the dial. Emotion is the amplifier. And when you start each day with intention, not with your phone, not with your to-do list, but with your frequency, you begin to anchor a new rhythm, one that the universe cannot help but respond to. This is not magic. This is spiritual engineering. So pause now. Feel into yourself. Right now, this very moment, what are you vibrating? Is it stillness or noise, expansion or contraction, fear or possibility? You don't have to fake joy. You only need to raise the tone just 1 degree higher, from overwhelm to breath, from confusion to pause, from shame to neutrality. And when you do, you rise. And when you rise, the world shifts with you. Tune. The signal, a morning frequency. Ritual, each morning before you check your phone or speak a word, tune your frequency. Sit in stillness. Close your eyes, feel your body. Place one hand on your chest, one on your lower belly. Breathe slowly, deeply. Let the breath settle your field. Ask yourself silently, what do I choose to broadcast today? Choose one frequency. Peace, gratitude, clarity, love, power. Speak it aloud. Today I am the frequency of peace. Today I move as gratitude. Let the words become a tone, not just a thought. Visualize your energy expanding with this frequency. See yourself walking into the day vibrating with this energy, interacting with the world, not from reaction, but from intention. Do this for 5 minutes every morning. You will begin to notice the world shifting. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You are the frequency. You are the signal. You are the song that life responds to. Now, tune it. Chapter 4. Correspondence. As within, so without. What if the world isn't doing anything to you? What if the world is simply showing you you? This is the Hermetic Law of Correspondence, an ancient truth so precise, so unflinching, that once you see it clearly, you can never unsee it. As within, so without. As above, so below. As the microcosm, so the macrocosm. These words have echoed through temples, mystery schools, and esoteric texts for thousands of years, not as poetry, but as programming. They don't describe how things feel, they describe how things function. The external world is not separate from your internal one. It is its reflection, its echo, its visible shadow. Your life is not happening to you, it is happening through you, and it is happening for your awakening. You may have noticed it already, how certain situations repeat, how patterns recycle themselves in slightly different costumes, a job that drains you just like the last one, a partner who echoes the same wounds, even with a different voice. Circumstances change, cities change, people change, but somehow the story stays the same. This is not coincidence. This is correspondence. The outer is a mirror of the inner, not symbolically, literally. You're not being punished, you're being shown what lives inside you, shown what you've accepted as normal, shown what beliefs still whisper in the shadows of your mind. Your external conditions are the result of internal architecture, assumptions, traumas, beliefs, self-concepts, some chosen, most inherited. Until those inner patterns shift, the external world must echo them. This is why running away doesn't work. You can leave the job, the town, the lover, the country, but if your internal blueprint remains unchanged, the universe will simply rearrange its shapes and give you the same script. Again, different scenery, same soul lesson. This law is not cruel, it is liberating, because once you realize that the outer is reflecting the inner, you stop wasting energy trying to force change outside. You stop begging the world to be different. You stop asking people to treat you better, institutions to see you, systems to rescue you, and instead you turn inward to the only place transformation has ever truly occurred. The law of correspondence breaks the illusion of victimhood, not by denying pain, but by revealing power. If your inner reality can script your outer life, then healing the inside transforms the outside. You don't need to manipulate the mirror. You need to clean the lens. And you are the lens. Look around you now, not with blame, but with brave awareness. What does your life reflect? What do your relationships say about how you treat yourself, What do your habits say about what you believe you deserve? What does your income reflect about your worth? What does your physical environment say about your internal state? This isn't about shame. It's about clarity. It's about taking radical responsibility, not for everything that's happened to you, but for what's being maintained within you. Some of the patterns you're living now are not even yours. They were inherited, taught, programmed. You absorbed them as a child, long before you had the awareness to choose otherwise, but now you do. You are not a static being. You are a field of belief, emotion, vibration, and memory. And the field emits a signal. That signal draws its match in the physical. And what you see around you is what you are vibrating within you. That fear of abandonment you never resolved. It might be living in your relationships. That belief that success must come through struggle. It might be hiding in your business, that quiet feeling of, I'm not enough. It might be leaking into your health, your finances, your voice. You are not being punished for these beliefs. You are being mirrored. And the mirror is sacred because once you read it correctly, you unlock the code. You stop reacting and start reprogramming. The Hermetic masters taught that the world is not a place, it is a message. A living text written in the language of correspondence. Every person you meet is a reflection of a part of you. Every challenge a map of a deeper lesson. Every desire a compass pointing inward, not to what's missing, but to what's asleep. And so if you want to shift the outer world, you begin with the only space that truly matters, the inner sanctuary. Not with self-help slogans, not with denial, but with sacred, surgical awareness. This is how you clean the mirror. You stop pretending. You sit with your patterns. You trace them, not with blame, but with curiosity. You ask, where did I learn this? Who gave it to me? Do I still choose it? Most people don't want to look in the mirror because what they see is raw. But if you don't face it, you can't change it. The reflection remains. The cycle continues. But the moment you do, truly do, something begins to shift. The job that doesn't honor you falls away. The partner who reflects your pain exits. The opportunities that once eluded you start to appear, not because the world transformed, but because you did. This law will humble you, but it will also empower you, because it makes you the author. It gives you the pen again. Not to control everything, but to respond with consciousness. You can't escape yourself. Wherever you go, there you are. So you might as well make yourself a sanctuary worth living in. Let your inner world become a garden, a temple, a place of clarity and grace. Because once your inner world stabilizes, the outer must follow. It's not just spiritual truth. It's vibrational law. Practical exercise. Mirror mapping. Decode your external reflection. Take 20 minutes, create a sacred space, light a candle, sit in stillness, let the breath settle. Then divide your journal page into 2 columns. Left column, external patterns. List 3 to 5, repeating situations or patterns in your life that cause discomfort, confusion, or resistance. Example: I always attract emotionally unavailable partners. I work hard but barely break even. My creative ideas never reach completion. Right column, internal correspondence. Now, beside each one, ask, what belief, wound, or emotional state might this be mirroring? Write freely without censorship. Maybe the unavailable partner mirrors your own fear of intimacy. Maybe the financial struggle reflects a subconscious belief that ease equals laziness. Maybe the unfinished ideas point to perfectionism or fear of visibility. Be honest, be gentle, let the mirror speak, and then choose one pattern to shift, not by forcing the outer, but by healing the inner. Affirm a new belief. Journal on its truth. Repeat it aloud. I am safe to be fully seen. I receive with ease and grace. My ideas are worthy of completion. Repeat this practice weekly. Over time, the mirror will change because you will, and the law of correspondence will simply reflect your new self. Chapter 5. Polarity. The hidden wisdom of opposites. You've been told to fix yourself, to eliminate fear, to silence anger, to get rid of the negative and chase the positive. But this is not mastery. This is fragmentation. And the ancient Hermetic law of polarity whispers a different truth. You are not stuck. You are simply standing on a spectrum you haven't learned to move along. Polarity is not a philosophical metaphor. It is a universal architecture. It says everything exists in degrees. Every feeling, every force, every experience is a vibration sliding along a continuum. Hot and cold are not different things. They are temperatures. Light and dark are both light, just different densities. Fear and courage, they live on the same line. So do grief and wisdom, anger and boundaries, confusion and clarity. You are not meant to destroy your shadow to reach your light. You are meant to transmute it, because the bad you're trying to banish might be the seed of your greatest growth if you learn to alchemize it. Polarity is the key to emotional alchemy. It does not ask you to fake peace when you're in pain. It asks you to shift gently, deliberately, 1 degree at a time. But most of us were never taught this. We were taught absolutes. If you feel low, something must be wrong. If you feel rage, you must suppress it. If you feel afraid, you must shame it. So we chase joy while hating sadness. We crave confidence while fearing doubt. And all the while, we swing from extreme to extreme, never realizing the extremes are mirrors. The law of polarity says that what you seek already lives within what you resist. Fear is the doorway to courage. Sadness is the doorway to depth. Even numbness is not the absence of emotion. It is an emotion frozen at the edges, waiting to be thawed by presence. You don't need to leap from one end of the spectrum to the other. You just need to slide, slowly, consciously. But to do that, you must first notice where you are. What emotional poles rule your inner world? Are you swinging between apathy and intensity, waiting for the crash to tell you who you are? Are you stuck in loops of blame, unaware that beneath your anger is a request you've never spoken? Are you avoiding grief, never knowing that grief, when fully felt, becomes your greatest teacher? Most people live as emotional pendulums. They swing without direction, and when they hit a low state, they panic. They assume they're broken. But lows are not your enemy. They are your compass. Polarity invites you to stop judging your feelings as good or bad. It invites you to ask, where am I on the spectrum right now? Where do I want to shift? And then, to make the micro move. This is where the magic lies, not in bypassing your pain, but in learning to pivot it. Imagine your emotional state as a sliding dial. You don't flip it from grief to joy instantly. You move from grief to stillness, from stillness to breath, from breath to presence, from presence to a soft curiosity, and from there to possibility. Each step is sacred. Each shift is power. This is the art of transmutation, and you've done it before, even without knowing. Every time you softened into your breath after an argument, every time you laughed through tears, every time you turned your heartbreak into poetry or your frustration into fuel, You were practicing polarity. You were becoming the alchemist, but you weren't taught to trust that ability. You were taught to control, suppress, perform. So your emotions became monsters instead of messengers, but they were never meant to be silenced. They were meant to be translated. And polarity is the language they speak. Your fear is not failure. It's data. It tells you where you haven't felt safe. Your envy is not shameful. It's direction. It tells you what part of you wants to expand. Your anger is not ugly. It's sacred fire. It tells you where a boundary has been crossed. But only if you listen. Only if you stop labeling your feelings as dangerous and start decoding them. The spiritual path isn't about erasing emotion. It's about emotional fluency. The most powerful people you'll ever meet are not emotionless. They are precise. They know how to move energy. They know how to pivot from fear to action, from sorrow to strength, from doubt to devotion. They don't suppress. They redirect. They don't pretend. They shift. And now, so can you. So the next time you find yourself in a heavy state, pause. Don't push it down. Don't run from it. Slide the scale. One breath, 1 degree, one vibration closer to the frequency you want to embody. This is not denial. This is design. Because when you learn to master your emotional spectrum, you stop reacting to life like a puppet. You start creating life like a sovereign being. You no longer fear your lows because you know how to rise. You no longer chase the highs because you know how to stabilize. You find the middle path, and the middle path is not compromise. It is power. Slide the scale. Micro-shifting. Your emotional state, identify the emotion. When you feel triggered, stuck, or low, pause. Name the emotion. Not vaguely. Name it clearly. E.g., I feel anxious. I feel shame. I feel angry. Locate the spectrum. Ask, what is the opposite of this emotion? E.g., peace for anxiety, worthiness for shame, clarity for anger. Choose a micro-shift. You are not jumping to the end of the spectrum. You are sliding. Ask, what is one feeling that lives between where I am and where I want to go? Then choose one thought, breath, or action that can move you 1 degree in that direction. E.g., from anxiety to awareness, from shame to self-compassion. Repeat the shift. Throughout the day, return to the dial. Ask, where am I now? And what's 1 degree closer to alignment? Let it be slow, let it be sacred. Do this daily, not to force emotion, but to become fluent in it. Over time, you will no longer be ruled by your feelings. You will move with them. And that, my friend, is emotional sovereignty. You are not stuck. You are simply 1 degree away. Now, slide. Chapter 6. Rhythm. Flowing with life's natural cycles, you are not broken. You are cyclical. From the moment you were born, you were placed into a world that worships linear progress. A world that measures success by straight lines. Upward graphs non-stop productivity. But you are not linear. You never were. You were made of tides. You were woven from seasons. You breathe in waves. You think in spirals. You are rhythm embodied. This is the law of rhythm, hermetic, eternal, undeniable. It states that everything moves in cycles, everything rises and falls, expands and contracts, comes and goes. No energy stays still, no emotion lasts forever. No situation is permanent, everything swings. The sun rises and sets, the moon waxes and wanes, the tide rolls in and it always rolls back out. You've seen this in nature. You've accepted it without resistance. You don't accuse the ocean of being lazy when it recedes. You don't demand the night hurry up and become morning. But in your own life, you fight the dip. You fear the fall. You resist the stillness. You are not taught to flow. You are taught to hustle, to override, to power through, to ignore your rhythm and perform anyway. But the law of rhythm says that resistance is the true source of your suffering, because the dip is not your downfall, it is your recalibration. The low is not a failure, it is the dark soil in which your next growth is gestating. You burn out not because you are weak, but because you never learn to rest in rhythm. Imagine if you stopped measuring your life in straight lines and began to honor your sacred cycles. What if you stopped trying to be on all the time and started listening to when your soul was asking for quiet? What if you stopped fearing the lull and started understanding it? Here's what they never told you. The downtime is not wasted time. The pause is not punishment, it is integration. Energy must retreat to renew. Even the heart rests between beats. Yet most people live like machines, demanding consistency in a reality made of rhythm. They shame themselves for needing pause. They label rest as laziness. They confuse slowness with regression, and in doing so, they violate their own nature. But you're beginning to see the truth. The high is for action. The low is for insight, and both are sacred. You are not here to maintain constant momentum. You are here to move in waves of wisdom, to rise with clarity, to fall with grace, to rest with trust. Because when you stop resisting the rhythm, you start living in alignment. The Hermetic sages understood this. They watched the stars, the waters, the body, and they saw the same pulse, the same pattern. The pendulum swings not randomly, but with precision. And every swing to the left is balanced by an equal swing to the right. So if you find yourself in a contraction, in a winter, in a silence, do not panic. It only means the expansion is on its way. The wave is not over, it is reloading. Think of your own energy, your own creativity, your own clarity. They move in cycles. There are days where ideas pour through you like lightning, and there are days where you can't hear anything but static. Both are valid, both are necessary, because rhythm isn't just a cosmic law, it's your internal compass. But here's the key. You must listen, you must become aware of your cycles. Track your tides, feel your emotional seasons. Know when you're in spring, blooming with new possibilities. Know when you're in summer, radiating with action. Know when you're in autumn, shedding the unnecessary. Know when you're in winter, cocooning in the dark. Each season has a sacred function. None are wrong. None are wasted. Only misunderstood. And when you begin to live in sync with this rhythm, something powerful happens. You stop trying to be stable, and you become centered. You stop clinging to momentum, and you start dancing with it. You stop fearing the dip, and you start learning from it. This changes everything. You no longer panic when clarity disappears. You know it will return. You no longer push when your body says pause. You trust the recalibration. You no longer shame yourself for needing rest. You honor it as part of the sacred pattern because you are nature. You were not meant to bloom year-round. You were not designed to force fruit in every season. even trees go bare, even seeds go silent, and yet they are not dying, they are preparing. They are remembering the rhythm. So now the question becomes, are you living by your rhythm or resisting it? Do you allow yourself to rest without guilt? Do you trust your lows as much as your highs? Do you time your actions to your internal wave or push blindly against it? Because when you act in rhythm, your results multiply. You stop wasting energy. You stop fighting life. You begin to move with precision. You begin to feel like yourself again. That is the quiet power of rhythm. It does not shout. It does not rush. It teaches you to move in alignment with your own sacred pulse. And when you do, everything else begins to fall into place. Cycle awareness. Track your inner tides. For the next 7 days, become a student of your rhythm. Create a rhythm journal. Each day, record 3 key points: your energy level, low, medium, high, your emotional state, stable, reactive, reflective, open, your mental clarity, foggy, clear, scattered, focused. Observe patterns. Do certain days tend to be more productive? Do you notice dips in energy after intense emotional days? Is your creativity cyclical? Begin to see the tides, not just in your body, but in your entire field. Honor the rhythm on low days. Rest more. Reflect. On high days, take aligned action. Create. Don't force uniformity. Practice fluidity. Reflect weekly. At the end of the week, look back. What did your body teach you? What did your emotions reveal? What did your rhythm want you to remember? Repeat this every week. Over time, you will no longer fear the dip. You'll use it. You will stop fighting your nature and flow with it. You are not here to be constant. You are here to move with the pulse of the infinite. You are rhythm. Now, begin to listen. Chapter 7. Cause and Effect. Reclaiming. Your point of power. You've been told that life is unpredictable, that things just happen, that some people are lucky, others cursed, and the rest of us are just trying to make sense of the chaos. But this is a myth. A soft lie told to those who have forgotten how the invisible truly moves the visible, because nothing in your life is random. Nothing. Not the breakthroughs, not the heartbreaks, not the delays, not even the patterns that repeat. Every outcome is a ripple traced back to a cause. Every cause is a seed planted in thought, watered by emotion, and shaped by belief. This is the law of cause and effect, the 6th Hermetic principle. It doesn't care what you believe about it. It simply governs reality with mechanical precision and cosmic elegance. There is no chaos. There is only unconscious creation. You are always generating reality. The question is, are you doing it deliberately, or are you doing it on autopilot? Most people don't create from awareness. They react. They respond to life as if it is something happening to them, not through them. But once you begin to study the architecture of your experiences, something extraordinary reveals itself. You've been the cause all along, not in a way that shames, in a way that awakens. You were the cause when you avoided speaking your truth, so disconnection became the effect. You were the cause when you believed success must be earned through struggle, so delay became the effect. You were the cause when you silently held on to resentment, so chaos mirrored back. And you were also the cause when you aligned your energy, and the door opened. When you finally felt worthy, and the opportunity arrived. When you believed you were loved, and love showed up in 1,000 forms. You are not at the mercy of fate. You are its author. The law of cause and effect invites you to stop chasing results and start tracing roots. Because the truth is, your external world is simply echoing the energy you've projected, the beliefs you've reinforced, the decisions you've repeated. And here's the key: most causes are not physical, they are energetic. They begin in your thoughts, they vibrate through your feelings, they move through your body before you ever take an action. This is why two people can do the same thing, but receive entirely different results. Because the outcome doesn't just follow the behavior, it follows the frequency behind it. This is the invisible thread that the ancients studied, the esoteric line that connects seed to fruit, thought to manifestation, silence to consequence. When you understand this, your life stops being confusing. It becomes transparent. So pause for a moment. Look at something in your life that feels stuck. Maybe it's your finances, maybe it's your relationships, maybe it's your creative expression, your sense of freedom, your clarity, and ask, what if this isn't a result of circumstance, but of an unconscious cause I've repeated? This is not about blame, this is about liberation, because once you find the root, you can change the fruit. Cause and effect invites you to take back your point of power, not by force, but by investigation, by tracing each unwanted pattern back to the belief that generated it, and asking, do I still choose this? You'll begin to notice a pattern within your patterns. You'll find the old stories beneath your new problems. You'll see how your past choices created momentum and how your current awareness can redirect it. Because here's the mystical truth: every effect you're living right now was once a vibration you consented to, and every new vibration you embody will become a future effect. You are never truly stuck. You are simply out of alignment with the cause, and alignment doesn't mean perfection. It means clarity. Clarity in your intention, clarity in your belief, clarity in your energy. The law of cause and effect is precise, but it is not punitive. It doesn't judge. It reflects. It offers you real-time feedback on the signals you're sending into the field. So if the results you're receiving don't align with your desire, you don't change the world. You change the cause. You rewrite the code. You upgrade the frequency. And reality, like a mirror, adjusts to the new reflection. This is the end of waiting. Waiting for someone to give you permission. Waiting for the perfect timing. Waiting for life to finally shift. You don't need to wait. You need to become the initiator. Because every action you take, every intention you set, every truth you claim becomes a new seed. And seeds do not fail to grow. They only grow what you plant. Backtrack the ripple. Trace the root of your reality. Choose one area of your life right now where you feel stuck, confused, or unsatisfied. Step 1. Name the outcome, the effect. Write it down clearly. Example: I always attract emotionally unavailable partners. My income never seems to rise above a certain limit. I lose motivation halfway through creative projects. Step 2. Trace the timeline. Look back. When did this pattern start? What similar situations have shown up before? Can you identify a common thread, reaction, or belief that precedes it? Step 3. Identify the cause. What belief, thought, emotion, or unconscious expectation might be fueling this effect? Example: I fear being seen fully. I believe money always comes with struggle. I lose interest because I'm afraid of being judged for finishing. Step 4. Choose a new cause. Now write a new cause, a new belief or emotional vibration you're ready to embody. Example: I am safe to receive emotionally available love. Money can arrive with ease and alignment. My creative expression is worthy of being completed. Step 5. Anchor the shift. Close your eyes, breathe, visualize this new belief. As a glowing seed, plant it in your heart, feel it taking root. Now take one small aligned action today, something that reflects this new cause. Repeat this practice weekly. You will begin to see new effects, not by chance, but by design. You are no longer just living life. You are generating it. The ripple begins with you. Now, choose what you want to send out. Chapter 8. Gender. The dance of divine energies. You were never meant to choose between softness and strength, between logic and feeling, between doing and being, because you are not one half of a whole. You are the entire spectrum, encoded with both action and intuition, structure and flow. And the ancient Hermetic law of gender reveals this forgotten truth. You are not just a thinker or a feeler. You are both the architect and the artist, both the seed and the soil, both creator and nurturer. The law of gender is the 7th principle of Hermetic wisdom, not about biology, but about energy. It teaches that every being, every force, and every creation contains both masculine and feminine energies, not as roles, but as universal polarities, creative principles that must dance together in balance. These are not stereotypes, they are archetypes, sacred blueprints hidden within the fabric of your being. The masculine energy is the structure, the direction, the fire that initiates, decides, and moves forward. It is the sword, the spine, the force of momentum. The feminine energy is the intuition, the receptivity, the space that listens, holds, feels, and flows. It is the water, the womb, the force of surrender, and you hold both, always have. But society, culture, systems, they taught you otherwise. They told you that to be powerful, you must dominate. That to be valuable, you must produce. That to be seen, you must perform. So you hardened, or collapsed, or swung between extremes, and slowly you began to abandon parts of yourself, parts that were never meant to be lost. This is why so many people feel fragmented, because they are overusing one energy and starving the other. You may be stuck in masculine overdrive, always doing, planning, pushing, never resting, never listening to your gut. Productive but burned out, focused but disconnected from meaning. Or you may be drowning in feminine overwhelm, dreaming, feeling, sensing deeply but never acting, never deciding, open but ungrounded, creative but stuck in loops of waiting. The law of gender asks you to return, to remember, to reunite, because it is in the fusion of these two sacred forces that your genius lives. When the feminine dreams the vision and the masculine builds the structure, creation happens. When the masculine holds the space and the feminine flows within it, miracles unfold. This is the cosmic dance that births galaxies, invents art, raises empires, heals hearts. And it all begins inside you. You were never meant to pick a side. You were meant to harmonize. This is not about equality. It's about integration, about knowing when to assert and when to surrender, when to push and when to pause, when to speak and when to feel, when to act from the head and when to lead from the heart. Mastery is not found in dominance. It is found in the sacred choreography of both energies moving in rhythm, because power without feeling becomes cruelty, and emotion without direction becomes chaos. But when clarity meets compassion, when action is fueled by alignment, when logic bows to intuition and intuition trusts logic, you become unstoppable, not because you force, but because you are fully fused. So look at your life right now. Where are you overcompensating with? masculine energy, grinding, pushing, proving, never allowing yourself to receive. Where are you lost in feminine energy, feeling deeply but avoiding structure, waiting for the perfect moment that never comes? Where have you made one side wrong? This isn't just about performance, it's about permission. To reclaim the sacred parts of yourself that you silenced to survive. To remember that creation is not one-sided, it is a partnership, a union, the divine marriage of doing and being within you. Even ancient mystery schools taught this, that all true manifestation begins when masculine and feminine principles are aligned. It's not about gender, it's about polarity, the active force and the receptive field, the sword and the chalice, the sun and the moon. You were made to carry both, and when you do, something alchemical begins to awaken. You no longer act without feeling. You no longer feel without form. You move with purpose, with presence, with poise. You start creating from your wholeness, not your compensation, and this changes everything. You build relationships with depth and clarity. You make decisions from both intuition and discernment. You channel your energy with precision, no longer leaking power through imbalance. You become the priestess and the warrior, the strategist and the mystic, the calm and the storm. This is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming whole again. So the next time you feel stuck, ask, what energy am I missing right now? Do I need to soften, or do I need to stand firm? Do I need to listen, or do I need to lead? Do I need to feel more, or focus more? Let the answer rise, not from the mind, but from the body, the breath, the knowing. The balance you're seeking is already within you. You just have to remember the dance. Energy integration. Blend masculine and feminine in motion. Choose a task you're planning to complete today, big or small. It could be writing, cleaning, making a decision, or having a conversation. Pause before you begin. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, what energy have I been operating in lately? Masculine, doing, pushing, directing. Feminine, feeling, flowing, sensing. Call in the opposite. Intentionally invite the balancing energy into your body. If you've been hustling, breathe into your belly, feel the ground. If you've been floating, straighten your spine, find clarity. Feel both energies moving within you, one offering vision, the other offering motion. Complete the task in harmony. Begin your task with presence, lead with intuition, feminine, then act with precision, masculine, or plan with clarity, masculine. Then feel your way through with openness, feminine. Reflect after. What shifted when you included both energies? How did it feel? Where else can you bring this balance? Practice this daily. Not to become better, but to become whole. You are he, the divine dance. You are not half. You are everything. Now, move with all of you. Final chapter. You were always the architect. You were never broken. You were never waiting for permission. You were never meant to chase power outside yourself, because the blueprint was always within. The wisdom wasn't something you had to learn. It was something you had to remember. All this time, the world told you to strive, to fix, to search. But the Hermetic teachings whisper a different truth. You were always the architect, not of everything that happened to you, but of how you interpreted it, of what you broadcasted into the field, of what you allowed, expected, and projected. You weren't living by accident. You were just living by unconscious design. And now, you've seen the code. You've touched the 7 sacred currents that shape reality. Mentalism, the mind as the first layer of creation. Vibration, the frequency you send out in every breath. Correspondence, the mirror between your inner and outer worlds. Polarity, the art of emotional transmutation. Rhythm, the cycles you were born to flow with, not fight. Cause and effect, the trail behind every outcome. And gender, the divine energies you were always meant to integrate. These are not theories. They are mechanics. They don't just ask you to believe, they ask you to embody. And now the question becomes simple. Will you live awake or asleep? This knowledge was never outside of you. It was only asleep, waiting for the quiet moment you'd be ready to hear it again. Not with your mind, but with your whole being. You are not here to become someone new. You are here to return to who you were before the noise, before the programming, before the systems told you what to fear, who to be, and what was impossible. That version of you, the one who moved with rhythm, trusted intuition, felt deeply, dreamed freely, is not lost. Just hidden beneath layers. But now, you hold the key. This isn't about knowing everything at once. It's about starting with awareness, with one shift, one law, one frequency. So choose. Not tomorrow. Not when it's convenient. Choose now. Pick one Hermetic principle, just one. Begin there. Apply it to your thoughts, your actions, your energy. Observe the results, not as magic, but as design and the universe. It's listening. It always has been. It's been waiting for you to speak, not with words, but with alignment, because once you live these laws, you stop surviving and start shaping. You stop reacting and start transmitting. You stop doubting and start remembering. The world doesn't change first. You do, and when you do, everything else responds.